remember when I was sitting in court across the way from my soon-to-be beloved ex-husband, and we were both feeling the pain and the fear and the sadness of what divorce had done to our relationship. I told myself there had to be a better way. There had to be a better way to get divorced. And that's how this program came about. So I merged IFS with higher consciousness, with inner wise self, with all of those other aspects, and I'm offering it to you so that you can have relationship healing no matter what choice you make in the future. Because when we change the way we look at something, what we look at changes. So even if you're the only one who learns this process or takes this program, you're going to bring that wisdom, that peaceful self-leadership back to your relationship, and it's going to change the dynamics immediately. It always does. So when you look at it from your higher level of consciousness, your higher self, it's going to change. And what the Compassionate Mediation Program covers, guess what, is all the questions that I just asked you today. So it teaches you how to be your best self, how to create a compassionate relationship, all the options, myriad ones, including, while I'm thinking of it, getting yourself to an Al-Anon meeting if addiction is in the, or a 12-step meeting, getting your own antidepressant if you need it, getting your own therapy, taking a stand for your own safety if that's an issue. So explore all your options, and we'll talk more about that. Understanding your finances, that's often very difficult for people. I want to hold your hand and help you get clear so that you know what you want to do moving forward. And then the fifth is to help you create the relationship you desire and deserve. So that's the steps of the program, and we'll look at each module briefly. So when you're being your best self, you focus on your needs. Start doing that now. Don't start waiting for yourself to make a decision about what you want to do. Take care of yourself now. And with that, I'm going to take a breath and invite you to do the same. Because as this picture that I took at the Botanic says, if you're worried you might be sinking, don't just float, flower. And I truly believe that things happen to us for a reason, and that what feels like the end can often be the beginning. So why this is happening in your life right now, why you're at this state of indecision, it's going to lead you to the next best place for you to be. And when you focus on your own needs and get clear and confident, when you take the time, when you practice exquisite self-care, when you get clear and confident and practice compassionate communication, you learn to set your intention for the relationship that you want. So your GPS becomes, I want a relationship that's loving and kind and fun and passionate and intimate. And you put out that to the universe. And then you show up and you invite your partner, if you want to meet you there. And if you veer the wrong path, be like your GPS. Just recalculate. Just gently recalculate. Don't beat up on yourself, but take an inspired action step in the direction of focusing on your needs and putting your attention on your intention for a better relationship, no matter what form it takes. And let the universe, higher power, help you on that path. So that's module 1, and there's more. And when you learn compassionate communication, you connect to your higher self. You let go of those limiting beliefs and judgments that you have about yourself and your partner. You unburden the pain from the past by acknowledging it, focusing, letting yourself move through it, and you relate from your heart. And even when you're angry and even when you're scared, if you take the time to feel your feelings and heal your heart, you're going to show up much differently to create a new relationship. In fact, I often tell couples that come to my office, your first relationship is over. It's not about fixing it or saving it. It's about creating something new together based on who you both are now and what you each want to need. So you can start new anytime. And when you're in self, you can make calm and clear decisions. You have compassion for yourself and your partner. You're confident in asking for what you want and need. You're connected to each other and participatory in the conversations. You don't have to put your walls up or get aggressive. You can show up. You're courageous. Even when it doesn't seem to go your way, you can be courageous. And you can co-create reasonable compromises because you're going to stay curious about how to do that and not let your ego get in the way that it demands it has to be just as the way you want it. So as you're curious about options and resolutions, you're going to create a whole new future. So one of my clients said that after she came to me alone, she experienced significant improvements, even though her family was unwilling to participate. So once you reframe your story and have compassion for yourself, you really can then let that compassion emanate from you, but you fill up with you first. And just an aside, I wanted to quote Albert Einstein, who said, men marry women hoping they'll never change. Women marry men hoping to change them. And inevitably, they're both disappointed. So whoever you're married to, they've changed, you've changed. And Sam Keen says, it's not about finding a perfect person. It's about learning to love another imperfect person perfectly. So that's what you do in Module 2. You learn how to create a compassionate relationship. You reduce your stress, and we'll talk about breathing, yoga, meditation. We'll talk about all the ways to reduce your stress. We'll talk about the miracle of empathy. I'll teach that to you, and the 5 steps we'll go into more deeply, so that together you can create some action steps based on a new compassionate relationship. And together, you can talk about empathy, the 5 steps, and you might even find that you're experiencing more partnership, passion, and fun. Because many times, let's take a look at this. I think this is at Burning Man. But this sculpture looks to me like many people that come to my office. They're both sad and turned away from each other. And inside, there's an inner child yearning to connect. And what you can do with compassionate mediation is learn compassionate communication to create a compassionate relationship and connect from your heart in ways that lead to healing. Let's take a breath and think about that. Because basically, through this Sin for Humor, we all come from some kind of dysfunction in our families. This is a conference. You can see how many people are there for functional families. As an aside, I have a wonderful family, very beloved, but my father, God rest his soul, was a manic depressive. So when I grew up, there was a lot of yelling in my house, and it made me afraid of anger. It made me afraid of my anger. It made me afraid of his anger. It made me afraid of my husband's anger. So I learned how to be codependent. I learned how to take care of other people's needs and pretend everything was okay and not be clear about my boundaries. And then I didn't want to do that anymore. So owning the parts of me that were angry, learning how to set boundaries, learning how to ask for what I wanted and needed, I learned how to do, even though I wasn't taught it very well in my family of origin. And you may not have been either. But we take what we can from our wonderful caregivers who do the best they know how to do, and then we learn from that. And now we can do better. So you can also build an entirely new marriage. You don't have to read this whole page, but basically what it says is, this lovely woman came to me considering leaving, but she was afraid. And she was afraid because staying felt almost as bad as leaving. And what she did was focus on herself, and I'm going to use her words because they're beautiful. Our self is the essence of the core of who each of us is without the hurts of our past, the defensive strategies we've developed to protect ourselves, our fears, worries, etc. All that stuff covers up our shining, beautiful, peaceful self. So she built an entirely new marriage with the skills that you're learning here and that you can learn in compassionate mediation. And that's what I hope for you. Module 3, you explore your options. And again, we've talked about counseling, separation, legal separation, divorce, but there's more. You can nest for a while in your own house where you and your spouse come and go and you stay with your children. But whatever your options are, take the time you need to get really clear. And that's what my program will help you do. So in compassionate mediation, you'll learn communication, learn empathy, explore your options, and then make your decision from your highest self. And if you decide to get divorced, which many of my clients do, you'll learn a new way to do that. I have helped many people who are partners in business get divorced and still stay partners in business. Because we talk about the psychological, financial, and legal issues, but we also stay connected on what's important, which is providing a safe home for your children, even if it's 2 homes for your children, where they see you connected in ways that are respectful and loving and kind. And it is possible. It may not feel that way now, but it is, even if you're the only one that does it. So deep breath. Number 4, understand your finances. It's got assets, debts, budgets, cash flow, your rights and responsibilities. And most of all, I'd like you to have a peaceful dialogue between the 2 of you. I took this picture at the Botanic Gardens. It says, the bridge between is not always a straight line. Let's meet in the middle. So when you understand your finances, you can sit down together and peacefully talk about it in ways that maybe you've ignored or taken for granted or taken on the roles of your family of origin. But you can create a new dynamic as co-equal partners starting now. You can talk about your income, your assets, your debts, and everything related to cash and finances. And then in module 5, you can begin to create the relationship you desire and deserve. And I took the picture of the monarch at the Botanic. And it says, once transformed, no need to go back. So what that means is, once you really come from your higher self, relate from your heart with compassion, you don't so easily go back into the old habits. And even when you do, because we're human and we'll get triggered, even when you do, you learn a new way to stop yourself, apologize, even notice that you're doing it with more self-awareness. So you can plan your future and truly create a better relationship for all of you, yourself, your partner, your children, your family, your friends. And by showing yourself compassion with all of these steps, you then show more compassion to the world. So that's what I hope for you.